I remember one day when I used to volunteer, this lady came in. I used to do the women-only supper. So it's every Wednesday in the shop, and this lady came in and she only had like a tiny little bit of soup and she was going to puke. And I'm like, oh, are you okay? And she hasn't eaten for 4 days. So her stomach got like, it was just really sore to get something in it. And I just started crying and I'm like, how can this even happen? My name is Miriam Gerich. I am 26 years old and I'm the shop manager of Social Bite in Edinburgh, Scotland. So Social Bite is a social enterprise. So all the profits that we make are giving back into the community. Social Bite chose to help the homeless community of Scotland. So all the money goes back to different charities. And also in each shop that we have, we do what we call suspended items. So people come in the cafes, buy their own food, but also can buy food for homeless people in the city. And we've got set times during every day where the guys come in and claim that back. So I work at Social Bite because I loved the idea. It is really rewarding. I could work in a coffee shop and enjoy it, but each day I see all the homeless guys coming in, being very grateful, and it's a good thing and it makes me feel good. So, you know, it's just my wee bit.
My name's Bethany Monaghan. I'm the Operations Manager for Edinburgh Food Project. I am 25 years old and my education is, I have a Masters in Business Management and Leadership. So our food bank is part of the Trussell Trust network. So as a charity, we're Edinburgh Food Project and we run 8 Trussell Trust food bank centres across the northwest, central and east of Edinburgh. And we provide people living in poverty with 3 meals for 3 days. For up to about 3 times in 6 months, depending on the crisis. I started volunteering about 3 years ago while I was working in another job as the warehouse manager. Really enjoyed what we were trying to do here, and I became the volunteer manager, so I was looking after all of our volunteers for a year, and I've taken on the position as operations in the last 6 months or so.
Okay, so my name is Eleanor Bird. I'm one of the local councillors for 4th Ward. I'm 30 years old. I've got a degree from the Open University in social policy. It's a very diverse city, so we've got an awful lot of affluence next to a lot of multiple deprivation. So the areas are quite sort of interlinked, they really back onto each other. So there's a lot of diversity in that respect, but I think that we face the same challenges of poverty like probably the rest of the country. We've obviously got a huge booming tourism industry, we've got, you know, a fairly strong economy with regards to that, but a lot of the time it doesn't feel as inclusive as it should, and that it actually impacts our effects. I think that whilst we probably are comparable to other cities, we do arguably have the means to be impacting our local citizens more in a positive way.
I think nobody should live in poverty. I think we should have no statistic of it. Everybody should have enough money to at least feed themselves. Social Bite, we have a lot of homeless people, so that lives on the streets, but we also have people that stays in council flats or bed and breakfast or hostels, but just don't have enough money to feed themselves. And it is ridiculous. Like, this shouldn't be like this. We should all have enough money to eat. I think in my career it's been really good for me personally because I've always worked in hospitality, but in little business. Social Bite is trying to do things right. It's trying to, you know, to build a chain. So for me personally, it's been a really good experience to have that.
Poverty is on the rise. I think the benefit system plays a huge part in it, and I think minimum wage and 0 contracts are another contributing factor. I think in Edinburgh, 18 to 25-year-olds really struggle because we're in Edinburgh, because we're in a capital city. I think housing is very expensive, which makes it harder for them to kind of get on the housing ladder, if you like, where in smaller towns it's much easier. I think it's harder for people to, I think in Edinburgh you're very split into private schools and then schools in much poorer areas. So I think there's quite a huge difference from a very young age, the split for people living in poverty in Edinburgh. And I think when it comes to 18 to 25-year-olds, it becomes a vicious circle. I think working at the food banks definitely opened my eyes to Edinburgh. I think we're seen as a very affluent city. We're in an affluent country, we're the capital city. Some of the houses and jobs in Edinburgh are incredible, and I think it's very easy to forget about the parts of Edinburgh that aren't living in as fortunate situations. I think there's a lot more people in Edinburgh living in poverty than people assume.
You know, it's a stain on our nation that is the case. I mean, I think 25,000 young people, children, live in poverty in Edinburgh and Fife, and that is just it's a shocking statistic for a developed nation, capital city, in an incredibly rich country. That is deeply regrettable, and I think it's something that we need to work towards changing. But like I say, although successive SNP governments and administrations have made those attempts, there's only so much that we can do with the limited powers that we are given by Westminster government. So although I obviously take on board we've been in power for over 10 years, we do have some autonomy, we still have yet to get entire control over tax raising powers, things like that, and social security. These are all things that are being sort of drip fed to us.
The social side of it, meeting a lot of people, like great people that really care about the country they live in, about the people they live with, the community, and just wants to help. And I think it's like this community that Social Bites built. It's just, it just makes you feel really good. You feel like, oh, well, actually, it's not all bad in this world. There's good people that actually care. And when we get some of the guys saying, actually, that cup of tea that you just gave me just warmed me up because it's freezing. It gives a little bit of hope, and they go on with their day, and it's going to be crap, but at least they had that little bit of pickup.
In the big picture, we are crisis support, so we offer 3 meals for 3 days, which isn't going to get anyone out of poverty. That's a quick fix that will help make sure no one goes hungry, but bigger picture, it's not going to get someone out of poverty. We're developing and changing as a charity to try and offer more support services, have agencies in the food bank centres to really start to provide people with the long-term support. But I think our main objective is to make sure no one goes hungry, and I think to make a change on poverty, you need to start well before it gets to the point that people are going hungry.
It's not always the case, like I said, that people are being able to reap the rewards of the benefits of us being such a kind of rich nation in so many ways. And I think this has been, probably 30, 40 years in the making. There have been all sorts of kind of social political movements that I think have probably, led us to this moment. And I think this is probably we're now seeing the repercussions on some of our most neglected and forgotten communities. And they're very, very disillusioned by politics and social policy because they just don't feel like it's ever worked for them, and that's something we're living with, and we continue to live with, whether it's Conservative governments who I believe are the most destructive socially, or Labour governments. It all comes down from Westminster, and we have very little control over that.
It doesn't even have to be about money. It doesn't have to be about giving money to a beggar. It's just like if you just stop for a minute and try to chat a wee bit, understanding people, and try to do, if everybody gets together, I think, it will work.
There's always hope. You just need to keep working at it and make sure the right people are listening.